Facebook. So I'd like to welcome our devotees on the Facebook, Dilip Bhai Patel Prabhu and Vijay Lakshmi Mataji at this time. And then, of course, all of you who have joined us here on the Zoom call. We will get started by reading from the Bhagavad-Gita. And I'm going to share the screen with you all. And let me know whether you're able to see the Bhagavad-Gita. Are you?
Not yet, Mataji.
Not yet? Okay. So
We were able to see the screen.
Yes,
now
but the chapter is not there.
Chapter is not there.
Mm.
Okay. So Bhagavad Gita, you see, chapter you don't see, and you want the chapter. Which chapter is it? Month of Kartik.
12.
12. All
Chapter
right.
12.
12 chapter. Devotional service.
Mataji, I'm in white now.
There you go. That is the team
The
spirit.
Mortal Gita t-shirt, Mataji.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good. Get Gita. Wow.
All right. So what's the deal here? Who's going to read now?
Me.
All right. So let's do a little prayer to the spiritual master, and then we will
Yeah.
hand it over to Vindhyavali Mataji. Om Ajnanatimarandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. All right, welcome dear devotees, and let's get started with reading from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, 2 verses each, starting with Her Grace Vindhyavali Devi Dasi Mataji.
Chapter 12, Devotional Service. Text 1. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? Text 2. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. Hare Krishna, Vashanam. Sutapa Mataji.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Text 3 and 4. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. Text 5. For those whose mind are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in the discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Hare Krishna. Shukumar Radhe Mataji.
Thank you. Text 6 and 7. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Text 8. Shraddha,
Let me scroll. Yeah.
Krishna Mataji. Just
fix your mind.
sorry.
Oh,
Sorry, Mataji.
No problem. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Vashanamati.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Text 9. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. Text 10. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Hare Krishna. Niral Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Mataji. Text 11. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, Then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action. For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. Hare Krishna. We have Sonia Mataji, Garima Mataji, and Aruni Mataji join. Sonia Mataji, are you able to read?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay. So Garima Mataji, you are able to read, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, please go ahead. Text 13.
One who is not envious but a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. He by whom no one is put into difficulty, and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety, is very dear to me.
Didn't hear back from Sonia Mataji, so I'll assume she's not able to read.
Vindhyavali Mataji, your turn.
Okay. Text 16. My devotees who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some results, is very dear to me. Text 17. One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things. Such a devotee is very dear to me. Sutapa Mataji, thank you. Hare Krishna.
One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equiposed in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and who is engaged in devotional service. Such a person is very dear to me. Text 20. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, time for reflection.
Mataji, in text 18 and 19, there's two words that who is silent, and another one. Can you please bring up that?
Coming up, number 19. Tulyaninda Sutir Moni, right? Tulyaninda Sutir Moni.
Yes, Mataji, that always silent, and the other one is like.
Okay, let me open it up. Okay.
Who doesn't care for any residence? That means wherever we are staying, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay, let's discuss this then. Very good point. Let's discuss both of them. The first one was?
Always silent.
What does it mean to be always silent?
Always silent means he doesn't argue, or like the other day you told that Guru Maharaj always tells that Mukha Prasada. So that kind of talk only, no other mundane talk or nothing.
Right. Because in the nectar of instruction, it starts with there are certain urges of the material nature which push the soul. And it starts with Vacho Vegam. Vacho Vegam means the urge to speak. Right? And so when they are talking about being silent here, they're looking at it from various perspectives. Right? The one is that you mentioned just now. Right? And what you indicated is that no matter what is happening, which is in verse number 15, right? He by whom no one is put into difficulty. So when somebody is putting me into difficulty, then I speak, right? I have that urge to speak. People are giving me trouble, so I will go and speak that and tell that to everybody. And you can also do speaking through writing text messages, posting things on internet, Facebook. That's also a way of expressing whatever is there in your mind, or through paintings. So people can express things in various ways. So when he's talking here about, so one is, of course, you control your emotions and don't let out those kind of things. The second also is, when we are talking about money, what we are basically saying is money means silent, always silent. The silence is coming not from just keeping quiet. The silence is that the person doesn't talk on material topics. He will talk otherwise all the time. He will talk, right? The people who are doing preaching, they talk all the time, right? They'll speak. So money and silent just doesn't mean quote unquote literally that you have to keep quiet, right? Because the thing is that keeping the tongue quiet is one thing, but there's something else that you have to quieten. And what is that? Even if you're not
The mind.
the mind, exactly,
Mind.
Mataji, right? So there's this whole continuous chatter that goes on in your head all the time, right? As soon as we wake up, the chatter starts. And the chatter stops only when we fall asleep. All the time the chatter is going on. So that silence also has to happen there. And then again, the silence doesn't mean the chatter has to stop. The chatter just has to be substituted. The quality of the chatter has to improve from being a material chatter. It has to become a transcendental chatter, like that. So he's saying that a person who's always silent, that's what he means by that. And what was the other point?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Can I add? Can I say something here, Mataji?
Yes, please.
Mataji, once you had told in one of the lectures that it is the prajalpa which creates a problem. You see, we unnecessarily sit down and do prajalpa. So I really liked your point, and I noted down in my mind. So that prajalpa also comes in this. Does that also come in this?
Yes, prajalpa is material talk. Right? Who is seeing whom, who divorced whom, who got laid off, who got a better job. All that is prajalpa.
Better job, Mataji, we can still do, so that we can ask for Lakshmi.
Yes, intention is always there, right?
But that is a slippery slope, right? Usually we always start with that part, then but how much of it we continue also. I mean, this is not only about job. I mean, many times we start the things that, okay, our mind tricks us into say, okay, I want more, I'll use it more for Krishna always. And then slowly our remembrance and forgetfulness is Krishna's mercy after
Yes.
that.
So then what is the remedy for that? What is it to do?
I think it's constant remembrance of Krishna. Basically, I think eventually.
And how to make that happen?
I mean, discipline, and I mean, that's what chanting every day, discipline and
very good.
Association.
Very good. And how to make discipline come?
Regulative principles with devotees. And
okay, and then how to follow regulative principles? How will we do it? The problem is we don't want to do it, right?
Control the senses, huh?
Yeah.
Goals, making goals.
Say that again.
Making goals.
But how to work towards the goal?
21 days.
What will help you? What will help
you? Being strict with our own selves.
Yeah, but how to help?
Controlling our senses and controlling our senses, controlling our mind. Yeah. And being strict with ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. So those three we already covered. So now I'm just saying is that how can I control my senses?
Engage your senses.
Help you. What is something that will help you maintain your goals? What is
association of the devotees, Mataji, helps a lot.
1600 points to you for that. I was looking for that answer, right? It is association of devotees. So as Neela Prabhu was saying that, that you start and you want to do that, but there are chances, it's a slippery slope, he's saying, but then who's going to hold you on that slippery slope? You need somebody to hold you, right? Because you'll slip. And that is where devotee association comes into picture, that you need the association of devotees to pull you back. I mean, Vaisheshika Prabhu talks about a devotee who was in Vrindavan, and towards he was sick, and towards the last, like the doctor is saying that you're in a few days you leave the body, and towards the end he says, I want to come back to USA. I want to come back to New York. And it was on his way, jumped onto an those scooters or whatever they are, to go to Delhi from Vrindavan and take a flight and come back to USA. But then his other devotees, they pulled him back and said, no, don't do that. You have spent here such a long time here in Vrindavan, and now that your end is coming, don't leave this holy dham. And they pulled him back, and in 7 days he was gone. So that's a very extreme story that I'm saying, but devotee association is a very powerful thing, right? And then, so what are the things that you will get from devotee association? What are some of the things that you will get?
Motivation, Mataji.
Motivation. And so what will motivate you? What is it that the devotees
motivate? Mataji, motivate, like you say, if I'll just give you one example. I always remember Vidyavadu Mataji, that she reads Bhagavatam every day, and it inspires me that I also must read. And Mataji, this is how, and you had told me, read one chapter a day. I mean, I failed in that and didn't read full chapter, sometimes a half chapter also I read if it was too long. But I have reached Mataji 17th chapter.
There you go. Yeah. So from the association devotees, you will get guidance, right? If you're stuck on something, you need something, you will get guidance from them. You will also pick up skills from them. And then you also, like you said, you will get inspired by them. You could also get infected by their enthusiasm. The days that you're feeling a little low, if you have devotee association, they'll perk you up and you start feeling good again. Like that.
Yes, Mataji. The other day when I was feeling very low, Sutapa Mataji called me up. And then after that, Archana Mataji called me up. And they really boosted my spirit. And it helped me a lot to come out of it immediately, Mataji.
Yeah.
So it helps, Mataji.
Yes. And that is what devotee association is. This is what devotees do.
Mataji, I think that reminds me of the initiative that we have today only. I saw in the temple, Bhakti community. It's a sense of community.
You saw that today? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Small flyers that we have, like.
You saw that bookmark?
Yeah, that was very nice. So the community, right? I mean, the word I was considering was community. We feel like a community, then we feel a sense of assurance that we have our like-minded people and
true. Yes, like-minded.
We can rely on.
Yeah. You also feel safe in generally.
Mataji, I have a question.
Sorry?
Like nowadays in current situation, we cannot go to temple to get the association. So throughout the day, yes, we are reading, we are listening the lectures and chanting and everything. And now end of the day, like from Varshana Mataji is in the morning, but for hours it's end of the day. So we are getting the devotee association. But sometimes if we feel low in throughout the day, then what is there any other thing that we can do to keep
Call us.
track? Huh? Call us.
Message us.
The Garima hotline.
We will discuss Krishna Katha.
We can discuss. Yeah.
That's the only way. That's the only way, and the only way. And so you get into habit of going into FaceTime and things like that, because then you see a devotee, you feel much better.
Yes, yeah.
So those of you who have your camera switched off, please switch them on. We want to see you. And I see Sukharupa. Sukharupa has also joined us.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam.
So good to have you. And Aruni Mataji also joined us. Are they all on the reading order, Prabhu? Neeral Prabhu?
Aruni Mataji cannot read, Mataji.
Cannot read today? Oh.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Sukharupa Mataji.
Yeah, she said she can read.
Yes, Prabhu, I can read.
Okay, yeah. So you'll read after Garima Mataji.
After Garima Mataji? Okay.
But Shraddha Mataji, this anticipation, because we are in that we can't go to the temple and stuff. So the anticipation of the class every evening also helps me to go through the day. Yeah, because then
Me
you know
too.
that there's a class and you're going
Yes,
to
me,
meet all devotees and you listen to you. So
me too. I really look forward to this hour that we spent. Yeah.
I agree with you, Sukomal Mataji.
yeah.
Mm.
I would
Yeah,
like to
that's
add
true.
one point to Shukamal Radhe Mataji's thought. The other day, Vashishika Prabhu told that Krishna consciousness is a boat. If you just go near the boat, you will get the vibe, or you don't need to just take the boat. At least you go towards the boat or near the boat. I like that point so much.
Yeah.
Like wireless charging.
Very nice. Yes. And okay, so what else? I had a small proposal, but I'll put it forward after we hear more reflections on the Bhagavad Gita.
I like Mataji the word imperishable devotional service. It is mentioned. So the characteristics of devotional service is imperishable. So it feels good.
Right. Right. And
And yeah, Mataji.
Mataji.
go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. Complete your thought.
And I was just wondering on the thing like equiposed in happiness and distress, and this is so much stressed in so many verses, and equal to friend and enemy. So it's so difficult.
Yes, it's a practice.
Yeah.
Practice. Yeah. Yeah.
And I had a question. What does free from all pains means? So we have a pain and we ignore it, like you were telling us, like knee pain or something you have, or stomach pain. You just try
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. What is the meaning of what types of pains do we have?
All kinds.
All kinds. Okay, good. Let's look at a few.
Adi Bhautik,
Adi,
there are three types of misery, physical pain, you can say.
Right. So here's the interesting thing that because the devotee is on a different plane, right? He transcends the material plane and is on a, higher plane of consciousness. So for those who are on a lower plane still, might see material energy affecting them. For example, a devotee might suffer huge losses of, money, Lakshmi, complete Lakshmi gone. And so somebody looking from outside must say that, oh, poor devotee, how bad it is, what's going to happen, and things like that. But then if you look inside the devotee's heart, he's not bothered. He's just thinking, good, Lakshmi is gone now. I don't have to manage it. So they are on a very different consciousness. So majority of the time that we get pains are, not only just bodily pain, but we also get mental pain, right?
Mental.
So those things are there. And then even at the bodily level, they will have pain. They will have. Do devotees feel cold? Yes, they do feel cold. All of us are wearing white sweaters today. So, right. So they do feel the austerities that the material nature puts on them, but they are not. These things are not able to. These pains are not able to deter them in their devotional service. Now, so many times you see people come to the temple. The husbands usually complain about their wives, and they say like, she was sitting at home and she was saying, my hand is hurting, I can't cook today. And in the evening, she's come to the temple and she's washing all the dishes. Right? What is it that happens? Right? What is it? But then they become free from that pain because they are engaged in a higher cause,
Engaged in higher.
and consciousness is risen to a higher level. Right? So the same wife, when she starts looking at even the household chores as a duty given to her by Krishna, then she will do that also nicely. Right? In the beginning, when we take to devotional service, and if the husband doesn't take to devotional service, it's like, oh, I got married to a non-devotee, or what's going to happen to my life, and things like that. But as you evolve and start climbing up the ladders of devotional service, you like, okay, fine, this is just a soul, and let me see how I can help this soul, like that. So the whole equation changes from the pain of, oh, who did I get married to? Then it becomes like, oh, Krishna gave me a nice project to work on. And this particular person is going to help me live Bhagavad Gita 12.15. Yasman no dujite loko, loka no dujite chayaha. Right? So every time a non-devotee agitates you, we have to learn to control ourselves like that. So they become free from all these things because they do not affect their day-to-day activities. That is what it means exactly. It's not that they don't feel, pain. They will. But good points, yeah. Anything else?
Mataji?
Is it
Oh my God. This is the Basha. But I have my grandchild, so he's making a lot
Oh,
of
this is
noise.
Namaste. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
You have a question?
Yes, I want to make a comment. I have my grandchild, so he's making a lot of noise. I'm sorry, that's why I say I can read. But anyway, it's so hard. It's so hard to control the mind, and at the same time, you hear the devotees talking bad about other devotees, and and you are like trying to control that to yourself and saying, no, you're not. I mean, this is not happening. This is not happening, but it's happening. So how can we? Because that affects me a lot. It hurts my heart. It really hurts my heart because all the things that we're learning and we are spending hours and hours reading the Bhagavad-Gita and the Sri Bhagavatam and all those kind of things, and it hurts my heart. They try to understand how people are learning the same thing I'm learning, and they still. And I understand we are in the Maya, and the reality is different. But how can I be kind with my heart? That's what I try to say.
Right. It has to start. It has to start from our own heart, right? And there is a very fantastic verse in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9. Okay, and I think it's verse number 31, if I remember correctly. 30. Okay, 30 and 31, both of them together. Whose turn is it to read?
Mine.
I read last Mataji. So.
Please go ahead. Whoever has to read. Okay.
Api chet suduracha. Oh.
Yeah, that's a tune.
Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasitos hisa.
Very nice. Okay.
Varshana Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Even if one commits the most abominable action.
Synonyms. Give us the synonyms.
Okay. Api even chet if suduracharah, one committing the most abominable actions, bhajate, is engaged in devotional service, mam, unto me, ananya bhak, without deviation, sadhu, a saint, ev, certainly, sa, he, mantavyah, is to be considered, samyak, completely, vyavastitah, vyavasitah, situated in determination, he certainly, sa, he. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you.
Translation. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Garima Mataji?
But fantastic. We'll stop here and then deliberate on what is said there. Api chet suduracharo. Even if somebody is engaged in abominable
Actions.
right? But what they're saying, you have to consider them to be saintly. We have to, that's why I say that it has to start from us. And that was a question you were asking, Namazya Mataji, that how do I handle these situations when I see others behaving in the most abominable way, right? When we are presented devotees behaving in the most abominable way, unless of course you are in charge of a temple, then you have to take care as part of your duty, you have to take certain actions that they have to take and they should take, right? But if you're not directly involved in that, not the controlling authority, you don't have the duty to do that, and you see these kind of things happening, then api chet suduracharo bhaste mam ananya bhag, then you are to consider them to be saintly. And we will just, and why? Because they are doing devotional service. And what's going to happen, you know, that if a person is doing wrong activity, but he's engaged in devotional service, now Garima Mataji will tell us in the next verse what happens to those people. Okay, so I'm going to start talk number 2 with you, and we are at verse number 9:31. Okay, Garima, if you can read, please give me this.
It's not on, Mataji.
Who's?
Garima Mataji's turn it is.
Yes or no? I don't know.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, the screen is not there.
Yeah,
Can't see.
screen is
You can't see the screen?
no.
Yeah.
Screen says
No,
like
we can see the screen, but something else.
Oh, something else? Okay, what's wrong?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sharing desktop number 2 with you. And I shared that. Lucky?
Now it is.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good.
क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वचन्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजाह्नति न मे भक्ता प्रयनसति नश्यति.
All right. And then let's say, let's look at the.
Sukharupa Mataji?
Yeah. So Sukarupa
Yeah.
gives the translation.
The translation or synonyms, Mataji?
The translation.
Translation. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace, O son of Kunti. Declare it boldly that my devotee perishes.
Never perishes. Right? So if you come across a situation where you're seeing somebody is behaving in an abominable way, Krishna is saying you consider them to be saintly. 30. Right? Because why? Because he's fixed in his determination. Now, as you go through the stages of devotional service, there are 9 stages. Adau Shraddha, there's faith. You have faith, you went to the temple. Somebody else also had faith, they went to the temple. Right? Adau Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha. Now both are claiming they want devotee association. Both are coming to the temple, they're getting devotee association. Right? Tatha Bhajana Kriya. Now they have to make it more formalized, so they'll take shelter of a spiritual master. Stage number 3. You do that, and that person also does it, or maybe not does it, whatever, right? Suppose both of them do it. They both now have got the same spiritual master or individual spiritual masters under whose guidance they are pursuing devotional service. Then comes the 4th and the long stage.
Anartha Nivritti.
Anartha Nivritti for 1500 points. Anartha Nivritti means that
Getting rid of
unwanted habits and unwanted things, right? So Anartha Nivritti. So everybody is getting cleansed. So while they're getting cleansed, if you throw up clothes into the laundromat, you know, they're dirty clothes, they're being cleaned. And in the end of the cycle, they will come out as clean. But while they are being washed, there's some dirt still over there. Okay. So Prabhupada gives a very nice example, Namazya. He says that when you take to devotional service, then seriously, then it is like there was a fan and you pull the plug from the fan. So now no more electricity. And here in his example, he's saying electricity means material impulses, material things and bad things, right? Like that. But even if you take the plug, even if you pull the plug from the socket for an electrical fan, does the fan stop immediately?
No, Mataji, it glows.
No, Mataji.
It stays.
Goes very slow and then stops.
Yeah. So it continues at its speed, and then over a period of time, it slows down, and then it stops, right? So that happens to all of us. And so now knowing that this happens to all of us, then when we see devotees are behaving like that, we will say, okay, plug has been taken off. No current is being supplied. They are working on their own momentum from previous, right? And the more they will listen to, so now what Krishna is saying here, they are to be considered saintly. Why? Because they are properly situated in their determination. They are on the right path. Their path is the right. So if they fall while they're walking, or they get a ticket from the police while they're driving, it's fine. But they will, because they have taken the right freeway, they will reach the right destination, like that. And yes, and he quickly becomes righteous and attains at last. Sons of Kunti, O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. So why he will become righteous? Now that is the beauty of devotional service. Devotional service is a purifying activity. You do it little, little, little. Some will do it fast, some will do it little. It will have its effect on you, like that, right? And so for some people, it'll take a long time because they had a bigger backlog of anarthas to clear. Some people had a smaller backlog, they become cleansed, and they are like that. But again, we have to remember, padam padam yad vipadam natesham. So today, if we are in a situation where we are clean, but the fact that we are associating with the material nature, there is always a chance that I can fall down, right? So when we see a person is falling down, when we see a devotee behaving in abominable ways, right? So what should be our take on that? We should actually, and this brings us to the Mani principle, that or silent question, that what does it mean that the devotee is silent? Sutapa Mataji had asked, right, in the beginning of the class today. Now this is a time for us to be silent, right? And which means that no criticism, nindadi shunya, no criticism of the devotee. And if there is a mental chatter, if there are thoughts going into our mind, the thoughts that should go into our mind, especially after having read the Bhagavad-Gita ourselves, right? And now is the time for us to apply it. So now, having read 931 and 930 and 31, now we see that next time we see any devotee behaving like that, the only chatter that will go into our mind is, how can I help? How can I help? Must be going through something bad, and
Yes.
oh Krishna, please help this devotee. Please help this devotee come out. It takes a very big heart to do that. Why? Because we are inherently para dukkha sukhi. Para sukha sukhi. Which means that when others are happy, we feel unhappy. And when others are unhappy, we feel very happy inside. That's the way. That's, layers and layers and layers of anatta that are on top of us for millions of years. We come to that kind of a consciousness, and that has to be cleansed. That has to be cleansed. So it requires a big deal, because there's a transcendental competition also going on in our head, that we have. I want to become the best devotee. And today, Vaisheshika Prabhu in his class said something which was really caught my attention, is etched here. He was saying that there's a book which is called How Good Companies Become Great Companies, right? Somebody, Alan or somebody, wrote that book, and it'll guide you on what are you supposed to do as a person, owner of a company, to bring your company, or an administrator of a company, to bring your company from being good to great. But then he said, as devotees, we actually, from great devotees, we actually become good devotees. And what he means by that is that when you're saying I'm a great devotee, there's a lot of false ego in us that is telling us this,
Right.
I'm a great devotee, I
Right.
do great things, I drink only milk, that kind of thing, right? So from that level where you're saying that I'm a great devotee, I've become a good devotee, but I am a good devotee who chants great rounds of Mahamantra.
Excellent.
You said that so beautifully today, and it's just etched in my memory. That is what we want to be, like that. So, and actually that's the only way to handle it, Namazya. Any other way you try, you will have grief in your heart. Does that help you, Grandma? She's a new guy.
Yes, Mataji, I'm changing diaper right now. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes, it is amazing. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Every time we talk about these kind of subjects, it made me happy to talk to you guys, because Mataji, you help a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, sadhu sangha sarva shastakaya, lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi koya. That is why we need devotee association who are going to guide us in the right direction. They should not pour they should not pour ghee into the fire. When somebody is angry, we should not pour ghee into it. What do you say, Kyati? Mataji, huh? Should we pour ghee into
Not at all.
Not at all, right? Right? Instead, we should just cover the fire with something so that it stops, right?
Something meaningful that they are able to relate, and then it also gives peace to their soul.
So, yeah. And that is where the devotee will come into picture, and that is what you will do, enable them. And it'll be such a big feeling. It is such a satisfying feeling to be able to help people take the next steps in devotional service, or even just to help them grapple with their anarthas. That itself is such a big thing. Sometimes you have to just sit down and talk to devotees and point things out to them, in the sense that, look here, I know this point is agitating you, but look here, did you notice that it's actually your mind that is telling you all these things? And that you are different from your mind, and see how your mind can make you so miserable.
And that in turns also help us in seeing our own area where we can improve. So
Yes. And sometimes, like, we are in a position where somebody comes to you and says, please help me, I'm facing this, and you're going like, oh. And the person comes and confesses and said, like, my husband said something and I shouted back, and you're like, oh yeah, I also shouted in the morning today. How can I teach? So sometimes people will come and ask you questions about how to handle some anarthas that you yourself have got and others do not know about it, but you know. So those are again situations arranged by Krishna. So Krishna can instruct you in so many ways. This is also one way. Somebody else will come and ask you that question, and then you're like, oh yeah. Yeah. It's a shatam ninda namna paramam aparadham vitanute. It's the first offense to chanting of the holy names of the Lord, and that is to criticize the devotees. It's Vaishnava aparadha. There's nothing worse than Vaishnava aparadha that spoils your devotional service.
Mataji, it's not only the devotee, but to other person also you should not criticize. Means the other day you told that the person is not present there to defend himself or herself. I like that line so much.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And that is Moni. Answer your question. That is Moni. Yeah. So just don't get into the habit of criticizing.
Can I say something, Mataji?
Yeah.
It's funny because I don't want to judge the devotees, but I'm judging, I guess, because I say, how come they talking? So I'm judging right there. So I watching them that they judging people, but at the same time, when I'm judging them because they're judging people, I'm doing the same thing.
Right. Okay. So if you find devotees who are indulging in these kind of things, then you don't judge them, but then don't try to be in close association also, because then you will learn, right, from the association. You will learn like that. So yes, it is a dicey situation. And sometimes it's not necessarily strength in the numbers. One good devotee in your life can guide you and take you back to Godhead. You don't need 100 around you. Like that, right? But you can always pray. You can always pray to Krishna, and such prayers get answered very quickly, actually. Material prayers might not get answered, but prayers in the spiritual life, they do get answered really, really fast. You need to have the intention and the strong desire in your heart to do that. And Krishna will help you. There was a very nice poem, and I've been looking for it, and maybe Varshana Mataji can find that, because she gets all kinds of things forwarded to her. So this was a very nice poem that somebody wrote, and I think he was an ISKCON person. He's an ISKCON person, and so he writes about a person, a devotee of the Lord, who dies, and he reaches Golok Vrindavan. Of course, where else will he go, right? So he reaches Golok Vrindavan, and so when he reaches there, he sees Krishna, he sees Radha, and he's very happy. And then he sees all the people of his temple. And then he says he's very, very, dumbstruck and wonderstruck, because he's saying, okay, oh, this was the treasurer, and I saw him take money out of the hundi and put it in his pocket. And okay, those are the two Matajis, and they are also here. And that person, oh, I remember he was doing this, and that one, and this one. And he has a long list of, negative points about all of them. And he's so wonderstruck and, dumbstruck at, how has this happened? How have all these people come into Golok Vrindavan? And then he looks at them and he looks at God, and then he sees that those other people are also, they're also dumbstruck. They're like, and so he turns to God and he tells that, this person did this, so how come they are there? And how come they are standing with their mouths open like that? So then God tells them that, just as you are so wonderstruck as to how they are here in Golok Vrindavan, they are also dumbstruck as to how you are in Golok Vrindavan. So you see, sometimes we don't see the faults in ourselves, but devotional service is like that. It'll purify you, right? So when you point a finger at your neighbor, there are 3 more pointing back at you, and there is a thumb that is saying that there is God above and others above who are watching you. We saw yesterday about who all are watching us, right? So we have to be careful of that. We could be watched. As much as, there are people watching us here on the Facebook. So Shraddha devi Dasi Mataji has joined us. Shat Sandarbha Prabhu, my dear godbrother, is there. Bilas Palit Prabhu, Varshana Mataji, your friend, right? From Atlanta, Georgia is there. Barsha is also there with us. Fantastic. Please accept my humble obeisances. And if you are ready, then I had a small proposal, unless there are more questions. More questions, more comments, more reflections. We'll take it down. Today is Saturday.
Mataji, I was thinking at what point, making a statement are considered like to be a criticism. Let's say if I'm saying, he's a bit stubborn or he doesn't take care of his health. He's a very good devotee, but he doesn't take care of his health, or he's very stubborn. Is it a criticism or is it a statement?
Krishna looks at the intention in your heart, right? If the intentions are that you're really worried about the health and you're just saying that stubbornness is coming in between, then Krishna knows, right? That you're not wrong. And then who are you talking to about it, right? If you know that somebody is not taking care of their health and that they are stubborn, are we telling everybody in the temple about them, or are we just talking to those who are in a position to change him or her, the person who is stubborn, like that, right? Unnecessarily telling up things about somebody to somebody else is not going to serve the purpose. Right? So we should speak words only if they are going to have an effect. If they're not going to have an effect, it's fine. Having said that, sometimes certain things can be very bothersome. Somebody's behavior can bother us no end. And in such situations, like I told Namazya Mataji, that apni che suduracharo, so you keep quiet, you don't say anything. But then, that behavior can bother somebody, and then that behavior can confuse somebody into that, am I allowed to do that? Right? You don't know what are the varieties of things that a devotee can do. And so in such situations, then again, our nectar of instruction tells us that dadati pratiganati guhyam akhyati prichati bhunkte bhajate jeva shadvati priti lakshanam. So one of the 6 things that you do to increase your relationships with other devotees is to inquire confidentially and to listen to things which are confidentially mentioned. So you can go to a senior person, like a Senko, senior friend that is there, senior person in the temple, whom you respect, and then bare your heart to them and talk in confidence that whatever you're saying is confidential, and they might tell you certain things, and then your heart will come to rest. And that process is much better than trying to sort it out with others. And one of the things that we have to always keep in mind is that if some situation is bothering you, then never go to those who are junior to you. Never go there, because number 1, they're junior, so they can't help you. And number 2, your statements are going to confuse them. They might just think, oh, what did I do? Every devotee is a bad devotee. What am I doing here? I'm in the wrong organization. And that way he will just split from one organization to another organization, because you'll have those kinds of aberrations everywhere. Anywhere that you have a congregation of people, everywhere it happens.
Yeah. So it's basically the intention. Yeah.
It's just the intention. And sometimes if you are in a position of authority, like you're managing a temple and things like that, you have to haul people up and then, banish people and ask them not to come into the temple. Although they are devotees and they are doing apichetsu duracharo, but you think that their durachar is going to have an effect on other devotees, right? So on a case-to-case basis, you will know when you are supposed to escalate it up and when you're not supposed to escalate it up. And if you are confused, then talk to somebody senior, right? And then they will be. And it happens, it's a group of people, and different people have got different personalities, right? There are 400,000 types of human beings, 200 different personalities. Like that.
Yeah. Usually when we start chatting or talking, right? I mean, yeah, we see a lot of good qualities in one devotees or something like that, right? And then at the end, I mean, especially I have noticed myself that I'm getting reminded that I should just talk the good things, but not talk the bad things. But then I'm saying something, like, okay, which may sound criticism, but it may not be statement, it's criticism. And then I get reminded, like,
right,
maybe I should just stop it here.
Yeah.
But then I said, okay, I'm praising, I'm looking at all the good qualities and I'm saying the good qualities first. But this is something, I mean, that person has. Okay, so I just wanted to bring it up also. But will that be considered a criticism, or that's where I was a little bit confused. Should we just stop there? But in that way, I'm also not communicating the right. I mean, the correct thing, right? I mean, I'm not saying the correct thing. I'm just saying the good thing which I know, but I'm not speaking up there's something wrong, but I'm not saying it, so the other devotee will not know, right? I mean,
yes, and then there we have to make our judgment call. And yesterday we were talking about different kinds of knowledge, material knowledge and spiritual knowledge, and we were talking about how Bhagavatam helps you to distinguish between illusion, reality, and illusion. And we said that the real knowledge is the knowledge which is for the welfare of everybody, right? So sometimes if you have to tell some certain negative things about somebody to the third person because of the role that you're playing over there, then you are giving them that negative information for their own welfare, right?
Yeah, that's the intention basically. If somehow we can get help, right?
Exactly.
Somehow we can get help. Yeah, that's the intention.
Yeah. Exactly. And so here is where we differ a lot from how we operate in the devotional world versus how we operate in the material world. In the material world means you see something, you see a problem, it has to be fixed there and then immediately, and that's the culture, right, of how we work in material lives. But here it's not like that. Usually when people there are heated arguments happening, the things are very hot and everybody's upper story is heated up, then it's like, okay, we'll have a meeting next week, like that, so that when everybody has calmed down and things have settled down, then you can address it with a cool mind and then come to much better conclusions, then try to sort things out in the heat of the moment. So
yeah,
they find that they always do such kind of delaying tactics they do. In fact, that kind of a delaying tactics even happens in, like if you go to the court and say, I want to divorce, they don't give you a divorce there and then. At least in most of them, they don't do that. They'll put some 6 months gap and things like that. And, most of them might, just drop the case and never get divorced. So they will put in a little bit of a gap there. So just so that a person comes to, is in a better consciousness and will be able to look at the same situation in a different way. Yeah. I know of a couple where, that wife would complain about something in the night, and he had a rule. He said that I will not discuss these kind of things in the night. Whatever complaints you're saying, I have registered all of them, and let's just sleep and we will discuss tomorrow morning. Which is a nice way. Because if you want to think about it, you have got time to think. If you want to rest, if the statements of the wife agitated you, you got the time to sleep it off. And then morning, we all feel fresh because in the night, we are in the mode of ignorance, and in the morning, we are in the mode of goodness. Right? So that itself is a much better situation for where to address the problem that is there, that they are facing. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to go and tell to your juniors also, again, there is no cookie cutter thing. I'm just giving broad guidelines. But the biggest thing that I would always say, and this was something that I was taught when I was just like 12 years old, and it's really stuck my mind. And that was, when you are in doubt, don't. It's a very powerful statement. When you are in doubt, don't. For example, if I give you a pill and you are in doubt whether it's good for you or not, what should you do? Should you
Don't take it.
No, don't take it, right? So similarly with every situation, the moment a little doubt comes into your mind, then stop. Don't do that action, because otherwise you'll regret it later.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So when in doubt, don't.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. That's very helpful.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thank you for asking that wonderful question.
Very nice statement, Mataji. When you are in doubt, don't.
Yeah. So if there are no more reflections, I'm going to propose something. And that is that we should have this class for 30 minutes only. Yeah, I was just kidding.
30 minutes from now or 30 minutes?
That's good idea. That is a good idea.
Yeah, we can have it 30 minutes from
30
now.
minutes more. Yeah.
Okay.
We're ready.
I was thinking that, we stress so much on the holy name of the Lord and chanting the holy name of the Lord. So we really have to get into the practice and the habit of praying to the holy name. So there is a prayer called Nam Ashtaka. There are 8 verses that glorify the holy name. And, some of the verses there are a little difficult. And each of the verse almost is sung in a very different tune. And that's fine. We can go slow over it, slow with it. And, maybe if you just spend time on one shloka for 1 month, in 8 months, we will have done the entire Nam Ashtakam. And so we could take some of the time here, like 5 minutes of every session, and then just do one verse from there. And we'll do it over and over again for a certain length of time till we memorize it. Is that something you want to take, or?
Sure.
So you have to show me a thumbs up or a thumbs down or whatever sign on your pads. Give me a reaction so that I know. I got only one thumbs up.
Mataji, can you please bring that devotee's face?
Bring the one to see what his face. All right, here you go.
There you are.
Is it
Yeah.
this
I did it. I did it.
I
I did it.
So, Vidyavali Mataji, yeah, Vidyavali Mataji, on your pad, there'll be a little console at the bottom where there is something called reactions. So when you touch that, then it will show you thumbs up and clapping and all that. So that's what
I don't.
Okay. All right. So you can give it a thumbs.
I don't know how
I
to
did
do
it.
that.
I did it on
Mataji,
Yes.
where to do that?
To Kumal Mataji.
Go to reactions.
Yeah. Somebody will have to walk her through. That's fine. You can just show a thumbs up if you want to.
I did it.
You have to keep it up. Govardhan. You have to keep it up like that. Krishna held the Govardhan
Yes, Mataji.
for 7 days.
Go over the line. No, this one. Go over the.
Okay.
Sutapa Mataji had question. That's why she was like raised.
She did like
No,
this.
no, no.
Okay.
Then
I
what
took
is that?
care.
Blessing mode.
Why did you do this? Do this.
She was giving 5 votes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But was there a question that I skipped?
No, Mataji, no
No.
question.
No questions? Should we do it, or should we go for it now?
Wait, that's what we did.
5 minutes. Are you ready? Who's going to read now?
Mataji, I will
Very
read
nice.
because I will have to leave. So
Sorry, Sut.
So here's the thing, Sutapa. You have to request.
oh, sorry.
Please, Please.
Okay. And while we are on the topic of request, I wanted to point out something very interesting, and we all make this mistake. And that is, it's a grammar kind of a thing, right? Nothing to do with personality. So don't feel that. Sometimes when we have to request, then we will say, like, whose turn is it to read, by the way? It's not yours, Sutapa, right? Is it somebody else?
No, it's starting.
It's Vindhyavali's, okay, right?
Vindhyavali, yes.
Yeah, so usually we will say, Vindhyavali, can I read? Right? So that is the question we ask, and we think that we are doing the right thing. We are saying, can I read? But the right thing to do is to say, Vindhyavali, Mataji,
May I read?
may I read? And there's a difference between can I and may I. The can, what does can show? Can is just showing whether you have the capabilities to do it or not. And so to judge your capabilities, we don't have to go to Vindhyavali. You know whether you can read or not. Yes, you can read. There's light, you have eyes, you have the book, right? But may I read is saying that, I know I have the qualifications, but do I have your permission to read, right? So let's get that into the habit of using the word.
Shraddha Mataji, in school, all the kids ask the teacher,
Yeah.
can I go to the bathroom? And the teacher says, can you?
May I?
Can you? And then they keep on wondering, why is the teacher saying, can you? Can you? And then she says, oh, then he says, oh, may I go to the bathroom?
Yes, yes. And then one teacher was in a joking mood when I was young, and the kid came and said, can I go to the bathroom? And the teacher said, you can, but you may not. And then
but one thing, Mataji, these things, in India, we don't take it that serious.
Money has to be taken.
Mataji, no, Mataji, it's very serious. I have been a teacher for 26 years. Mataji, I have been a teacher for 26 years. My God, if you use can, teacher used to really call back and say, no, this is not the way to do it. You have to say, may I do it? Teachers are very particular, Mataji. In India also. Especially the English teachers, Mataji.
Because it's
they really catch hold of
That's
it.
grammar. Yeah,
It is grammar.
they're right.
Right.
There you go. Okay. So I'm just going to give you the tune for this, okay? And then we can take it from there. So Nikhila Shruti Mali Ratnamala Dipini Rajita Pad Pankajanta Ei Mukta Kuler Upasyamanam Paritasvam Harinam Samshayami. Okay, now whoever's turn is it? Sutapa, give it to us.
Hey, thank you, Vindhyavali Mataji, for letting me.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I'm trying.
Now let's get serious.
Nikhila Shruti Mala Ratnamala Dhuti Nirajita Pada Pankajanta Ai Mukta Kular Upasha Manam Paritashvam Harinama Shamshayami.
Nikhila Shruti Mali Ratnamala Dutiri Rajita Pad Ai Mukta Kuler Upasyamanam Haritaswam Harinam Samshayami. Okay, so in a couple of days I'll also record it, and we will live this verse for some time. So don't be in a hurry if you don't get it on day one. But you decided it very nicely, Sutapa Mataji. And so now I'm going to pick up the translation, and maybe we should give it to Vindhyavali then.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji, for the class and everything. So I am leaving, and Hari Bol to all devotees.
Thank you for your association.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay.
Translation.
Yes.
Oh Harinama. Oh, Sukamala Mataji, no?
No, it's your turn.
Yeah.
It's your turn, Mataji.
Translation. Oh Harinama, the tips of the toes of your lotus feet are constantly being worshipped by the glowing radiance emanating from the string of gems known as the Upanishads, the crown jewels of all the Vedas. You are eternally adored by liberated souls such as Narada and Sukadeva. O Harinama, I take complete shelter of you. Hare Krishna. Very good, Mataji.
So
This one is very
this
beautiful.
book, yeah, so this is telling you that how powerful that holy name is. Normally people think
Yes.
that Vedas are important, right? And as part of the Vedas, the main crux of the Vedas actually comes in the Upanishads, right? Which people usually
Yeah.
would read when they go for Vanaprastha. So they have lived their whole life, they've got very rich experience, they tried all the other things in the Vedas, and now they're telling you, okay, buddy, here is the reality, right? So now, so there is Vedas, and on top of the Vedas are the Upanishads. And what are the Upanishads worshipping? They are worshipping the lotus feet.
Lotus feet.
And what lotus feet? The tips of the lotus feet.
Tips of
Yeah.
lotus feet.
The nails they are worshipping, right? And you are eternally adored by the liberated souls such as Narada and Sukarina. O Harinam, I take complete shelter of you. Okay. So we will stop here on this one.
Mataji, who wrote this one, Mataji?
It's Rupa Goswami.
Rupa Goswami. Okay.
Mala Nama se yeah, Rupa Goswami wrote it.
Shruti Mali Radha. Nikila Shruti Mali Radha.
Okay, so here now let's go to Brahma Samhita. Right, we can't avoid it for long now. We'll do a few minutes of Brahma Samhita, whatever we can digest, and call it a day. So tomorrow the class is going to be a very short class because I have to present something at my Bhakti Weber class tomorrow. So it'll be from 6:30 my time till maybe 2 minutes to 7 o'clock. After that, I'll have to drop dead because other class also happens on Zoom. So I have to get out of my Zoom and join that Zoom. So here we are, Brahma Samhita bringing up and work text number 3. So next in line, can please read?
So should I read because I was after Sutapama?
Yes, please.
Karnikaram Mahadyantraam Satkonam Vajrakilakam Sad Anga Satpadi Sthanam Prakritya Purushena Cha Premananda Mahananda Rasena Vashishtatam Hiyat Jyoti Rupena Manuna Kama Bijena Sangatam.
Very nice. Let's do this line one more time.
Yeah.
Rasena Vastitam Hiyat. Rasena Vastitam Hiyat.
Rasena Vastitam Yiyat.
There you go, right? Then you have no
Yeah.
problem with the meter.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Varshana Mataji.
Varshana Mataji, give us a translation.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. The wall of that transcendental lotus is the realm wherein dwells Krishna. It is the hexagonal figure, the abode of the indwelling, predominated and predominating aspect of the absolute. Like a diamond, the central supporting figure of the self-luminous, Krishna stands as a transcendental source of the potencies. The holy name consisting of 18 transcendental letters is manifested in the hexagonal figure with sixfold divisions. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Okay. Who's next?
My turn, Mataji. Purport. The transcendental pastime of Krishna are twofold, which are manifested and non-manifested. The pastime in Vrindavan, visible to the mortal eyes, are the manifestive Leela of Sri Krishna, and that which is not so visible is non-manifestive Leela of Krishna. The non-manifestive Leela is always visible in Goloka, and the same is visible to the human eye in Gokula, if Krishna so desires. In this Krishna Sandarbha, Sri Jiva Goswami Prabhu says, non-manifestive pastimes are expressed in manifestive Krishna Leela, and Goloka Leela is the non-manifestive pastime of Krishna visualized from the mundane plane. Next person can read. I think Aruni Mataji, you want to take Garima Mataji's turn, so you can start.
Yeah, I'll read. Okay, Hare Krishna. You stopped at mundane plane, right? Yeah. This is also corroborated by Sri Rupa in his Bhagavata Amrita. The progressive transcendental manifestation of Gokula is Goloka. So Goloka is the self-same majestic manifestation of Gokula. The eternal pastimes of Sri Krishna, although not visible in Gokula, are eternally manifested in Goloka. Goloka is the transcendental majestic manifestation of Gokula. The manifestations of the non-manifestive pastimes of Krishna with regard to the conditioned souls are twofold, that is, worship through the channel of the mantras, inaudibly recited, liberating, self-dedicatory, transcendental sounds, spontaneous outflow of a heart's spiritual love for Krishna. Sri Jiva Goswami has said that worship through the mantra is possible permanently in the proper place when confined to one pastime. This meditative manifestation of Goloka is the pastime attended with the worship of Krishna through the mantra. Who's next? Sukarupa Mataji.
I was after Garima Mataji.
Yeah,
She's
so
not
Aruni
reading.
Mataji was reading in place of Garima Mataji, so now it is.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I start from again.
Yes.
Again, the pastime that are performed in different planes and the different moods are the autocratic in diverse ways. Hence, rasiki, that is spontaneous outflow of heart spiritual love for Krishna. This shloka conveys a twofold meaning. One meaning is that in the past time attended with worship through the mantra consisting of 18 transcendental letters. Transcendental word contained in the said mantra being differently placed make a manifestation of only one lila of Sri Krishna. As for example, Mother, if you can please go up.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Or trying to. There you go.
And where did it go?
There it is.
As for example, Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Vallava Swaha. This is a hexagonal mantra consisting of 6 transcendental words, that is Krishna, Govinda, Gopijana Vallava Swa and Ha. These 6 transcendental words, when placed juxtapositionally, indicate the mantra. Do I read Mataji, the second paragraph also? The hexagonal.
Who is next, Mataji?
After Sukharupa Mataji, Vindhyavali Mataji, it's your turn.
Okay, thank you. The hexagonal great transcendental machinery is in this wise. The principal said, Klim is situated in the instrument as the central pivot. Anybody with an impression of such an instrument in his mind and concentrating his thought on such spiritual entities can attain, like Chandradhyava.
Chandradhvaj.
Chandradvaja. I'm sorry, where is it? Chandradvaja, to the knowledge of the cognitive principle. The word Siva in Swa indicates Kshetrajna, one who is conversant with one's inner self, and the word Ha indicates the transcendental nature. This meaning of the mantra has also been corroborated by Sri Hari Bhaktivilasa. The general meaning in this that one who is desirous of entering into the esoteric pastimes of Krishna will have to practice his transcendental service along with the culture of the devotional knowledge relative to him. Krishna Swarupa, the proper self Krishna, and Krishnasya Chinmaya Vraja Leela Vilasa Swarupa, the true nature of Krishna's transcendental pastimes in Vraja. Tat Parikara Gopijana Swarupa. The true nature of his spiritual associates in Vraja, viz. the spiritual milkman and the milkmaids. Tad Vallabha, the
One second, Mataji. 1 second, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. I'm only on the listening mode. I just have to go out, Mataji. 1 minute.
Tadvallabha, the true nature of self-surrender to Krishna in the footsteps of the spiritual milkmaids of Raja, Sudha Jivasya Chid Jnana Swarupa, the true nature of the spiritual knowledge of the unalloyed individual soul. Chid Prakritir Arthat Krishna Seva Swabhava. The true nature of the transcendental service to Krishna is that the esoteric relation is established on the awakening of one's pure cognition. Anybody else? Who is next?
Yeah.
Garima Mataji.
Garima Mataji, you want to read?
Mataji.
No, Mataji.
Okay. The meaning is that rasa is only the transcendental service of the central refuge of Sri Krishna as predominating aspect of the absolute by one's ego as the spiritual maid of the predominated moiety of the absolute integer, attended with pure devotion in the shape of one's entire self-surrender. The pastime in Goluka or in Gokula during the stage of devotional progress is the meditative worship through the mantra, and during the stage of perfection, the pastimes manifest themselves as the unrestrained transcendental jubilations. This is the real aspect of Goluka or Gokula, which will be made more explicit in due course. The meaning of the words Jyoti Rupena Manuna Brahma Samhita 5.3 is that the transcendental meaning is expressed in the mantra by means of which on transcendental desire of love for Krishna and the service of Krishna being added, one is established in the eternal love of Krishna. Such eternal pastimes are eternally manifested in Goluka.
Very good. Thank you. So they were referencing a verse in Brahma Samhita here, right?
Yeah, the same one that we...
Same one, right? It's a Brahma Samhita 3. Okay. So compared to last week, is it getting any better from reading the verse again?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, little bit.
First stanza, first paragraph, we could
You
make
could,
sense.
right? You could make some sense. So since I won't go over the major parts of the first paragraph because we already did that, but a few things to consider from there is that they were talking about his pastimes, right? Either they are manifestive, which means we can see, or they are non-manifestive, which is we cannot see. So his pastimes, which are happening in Golok Vrindavan, the spiritual planet, they are eternal. They always happen, but we from the mundane world are not able to see them. So they don't stop. They're non-stop. They're going on, right? But what we can see is his pastimes when he does his pastimes by descending here in his various forms, and the pastimes that he does, then those are the ones that we see. And those pastimes also, they don't happen all the time. He comes on a schedule, the scheduled incarnations. And one of the things that also we said was that we are able to see those pastimes only if he chooses to show those to us. So this is a very important thing for us to keep in mind, is that, it's not that I can say, well, this is the 28th cycle of Kali, of the 4 Chatur Yugas here, and so Krishna, you are supposed to come, so why are you not coming? It's not like that. It's Krishna's sweet will whether he wants to come or not. So we should be that kind of a mood, right? So and we also talked about that who's living in there, in that planet, which is hexagonal, the shape inside the world of the lotus. And we said both the predominated and the predominating, both of them are staying there. So the one who is dominated is Radha, the female, and the predominator is Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he's the predominating, and he's the male, and he's the only male there, right? so we had gone up to that, right? We have gone up to that level, and we had said that he comes here in as Krishna, but he can also come here as Vishnu. He can come here as Kurma, and in various kinds of avtaras. He can come just over here, right? So now, when he's saying that when we talk, and so that's the part we'll take, and we take a small part of it, and we are not in a hurry to finish it. We'll just relish the Bhagavatam as we go along. So here we are saying, here, we'll start from here because we did not cover. So the manifestations of the non-manifestive pastimes of Krishna with regard to the conditioned souls are twofold. Number one, how do we see these, the non-manifestive pastimes, how are they manifested to us? Number one, as far as conditioned souls are considered, conditioned souls means souls which are in a material body. So conditioning basically means that wherever you are, you will behave in a certain way. For example, when the soul is put in the body of a cow, it'll behave like a cow. It'll want to eat grass, right? If you put the same soul in the body of a tiger, then the tiger will not like grass to eat. Similarly, if the same soul goes in the body of a pig, then it will happily eat stool. So that is what happens. That is what the conditioning is. It'll behave in a particular manner where you're putting there. So here he's saying is that, for all of us who are the conditioned souls here, right? So what we do, the manifestations of non-manifested pastimes Krishna are twofold. So how are they manifested? Here they are saying, number one is that you have to worship through the channel of mantras. And what mantras they're talking about? These mantras are inaudibly recited. So whereas we have the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which we are supposed to recite loudly, here they're saying that these mantras which are there, they are recited inaudibly. So not loudly at all. And these are liberating, they are self-dedicatory, and these are transcendental sounds. And they talk about the mantra later on. And the second is that, once you do all that, then there is a spontaneous outflow of the heart's spiritual love for Krishna. And then Jiva Goswami says that, who's related to Rupa Goswami, whose Naam Ashtakam we just now read. So he has said that worship through the mantra is possible permanently in the proper place when confined to one pastime. So he's saying that you stick with one pastime of Krishna and then you meditate on that, right? And you'll meditate on that pastime. And how is that meditation happening? That meditation is happening through you meditating on the mantra. Meditating on the mantra is that you will speak it in your mind, and then you'll also hear it in your mind. So we'll go and do a very quick exercise. Since you know the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or let's take the other mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to recite the Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I want you to, if you're speaking, then can you please mute yourself? And so I'm just going to, so we're just going to close our eyes and do this really quick 10-second exercise. Close your eyes and recite the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and don't make a sound. Recite it in your mind, and I want you to also hear it in your mind. Okay, then come back, open your eyes. Were you able to hear it?
Yes, Mataji.
Was it difficult?
No.
No.
Okay, but now you know what it means to hear in your mind. Okay, all right. So, so that is what, so you have to meditate on that. And he's saying that through the mantra is possible permanently in a proper place, and you confine yourself to one particular pastime of Krishna, and then you meditate on that mantra. So now the next question will be, from where will the mantra come to me? Which mantra should I recite, right? So one important thing I want to talk about the mantras, and that will be my last topic on this before we call it a day, and we'll continue on this. Okay? So the thing about these mantras is that you have to take them from a proper source. You have to take it from a proper source, not just anybody and everybody. For example, there's a mantra that we are reading in this particular verse, right? Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopi Janvallabhaya. It's a Gayatri mantra, right? Now, the thing about these mantras is that if I give you this mantra, which I'm giving right now, right, because I'm reading it, or some of you gave us because you read it. So we have received that mantra, but it will not have the complete effect on us. It has to come through the right channel, and it has to come to you through your spiritual master. So in this regard, Vrksa Prabhu gives a very nice example. He says that the banyan tree, okay, so the banyan tree will have a seed. So if you take the seed of a banyan tree from the tree itself, you pluck it from there and you plant it in the ground and you start putting some water in it, there will be no banyan tree that will be sprouted. It just will not sprout. Okay? So what happens is that in that ecosystem where the banyan tree is, there in that habitat, there are some birds also. So when the seed falls to the ground, these birds eat that seed, and that seed goes to the digestive tract of the bird, and then it is pushed out of the bird's body. So in that process, the digestive juices in the bird's body, they act on the seed and they kind of soften the hard covering of the seed, so that now when it goes into the ground, the plant inside it is able to push and come out. So the same thing happens to the mantras also that are given to us from a spiritual master. And that is, the mantra will not have its effect on you unless it comes through the spiritual master. It's just like the banyan tree comes through the bird, the mantra has to also come through the spiritual master. He will pronounce it and put it in your ear like that. Okay. Now, again, another question that will also come is that, but you say all these years that Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam kalau nasti eva gatiranyata. So what happened to my Hare Krishna mantra? Now you're talking about this mantra to get from the spiritual master, right? So, and these are mantras, there are other mantras that you will get from your spiritual master when you get second initiated. And so we have to remember that, yes, Krishna said, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, which means it is true. In Kali Yuga, it is true. So getting more mantras, etc., could become a mandate in other yugas, but in this yuga, the rules are very much relaxed, and we're not, we are happy with just doing the Hare Krishna mantra, and just the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is going to take you back to Golok Vrindavan. It can do that, right? So as we are chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, then there are the anartha nivritti happens, the bad habits go away, right? So, and what are the bad habits? Our bad habits are all our material desires. So the material desires go away. Vidyate hridaya granthis chidyate sarva samshaya. And after all these granthis which are there, these material attachments which are there, those get broken, right? And then all your doubts also go away as to who am I. And then you realize that, oh, I am a soul and I am actually the controller of material rather than the other way around. So by just through the process of chanting, purification can happen and you can go back to Golok Vrindavan through that. However, if you want to hasten the process, of getting rid of the material desires, then you chant some of these extra mantras. Otherwise, just chanting is good enough. Because the holy name is so powerful that by just reciting it, and what did we hear about the holy name 20 minutes ago? Does somebody remember what was it about the holy name? He gave a beautiful description of that, right?
Holy name is so potent that comes from Narad and Sukadev Goswami, and from the tip of the lotus feet of you are worshipped.
And who worship them? Who worship? Who are the people who are they worshipping? It said something about, right? The crown jewel of the Vedas.
Vedas.
Crown
Yeah,
jewel.
yeah.
Like, you put jewels here. You can put jewels on your hands. You can put jewels on your feet. You put jewels on your waist. You can put a jewel around your neck. You put jewels here, right? But the crown jewel is the jewel that you put on your head.
Of
So
the
head
Upanishads, it's it.
Upanishads, exactly. So they're saying that the Upanishads are actually worshipping the tip of the toes of the holy name. Because the holy name has a form, right? The name has a form. And on the transcendental world, there's no difference between the name and the form. So when you say Hare Krishna, it is actually Krishna. It's spoken transcendentally. like that. Okay. So having talked about Krishna over there and residing in his Golok Vrindavan there, so now he is also talking about that how can a person go and participate in those leela basically to have them manifested. He's saying you have to start with the mantra. Okay. So we will stop here now. We have spent an hour and a half in this nice association. And we'll spend another half an hour tomorrow morning from 6:30 to 7. And thank you so much for joining. Yeah. And thank you so much for joining us on the Facebook. We are joined in addition by Archana Mataji and also Usha Gupta Mataji from Modesto. And Sumati, well, she has a new name now. And so thank you so much for joining. We'll call it a day. And for you also here on Zoom, thank you so much for making it such a lively and
Thank you so much, Shraddha Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Shraddha Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
कृतलुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Shraddha Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you, Shraddha Mataji.